You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2 o'clock.
Both sides of the story, linking Jamaicans in the diaspora with Jamaicans of like mind in Jamaica.
We always need to hear both sides of the story. Both sides of the story.
Connecting the Jamaican diaspora abroad and at home.
Both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story.
Yes, both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story, highlighting the positive role of the Jamaican diaspora.
Both sides of the story.
Sides of the story.
We always need to hear both sides of the story. Both sides of the story.
Time now for Both Sides of the Story on Power 106 FM. We will not take sides, but we listen to your side. Join us as we explore the issues, present the facts, speak with the experts, and as always, listen to both sides. What's your story? Tell us on Both Sides of the Story. 922-4112, 922-4113, 922-4114, and 922-4115. You can listen to Both Sides of the Story on the Gleaner's website, www.go-jamaica.com, on your mobile phones at tunein.com or nobex.com, or by dialing 832-551-5045 or 213-493-0133 in the USA. If you're in the UK, you can dial 020-3519-0145, and in Germany, 051-180-904044. Our email address is bothsides106@live.com, and you can join us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, or link us up on Skype. We look forward to receiving your instant messages on MSN or Yahoo, and your text messages on 365-3346. Remember, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we can listen twice as much as we speak. So stay with us as we listen to both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story.
Knowledge is power. Class is in session. Power 106.
We see then how far the monuments of wit and learning are more durable than the monuments of power or of the hands. For have not some books continued 2,500 years or more without the loss of a syllable or letter, during which time infinite palaces, temples, castles, and cities have been decayed and demolished?
Labor for learning. Before you grow old. Learning is better than silver or gold. Silver and gold will vanish away. But our good education will never decay. Little boys, little girls, oh yeah, just take my advice and go to school and learn the golden rules. You will find out what I'm saying to you, that our good education will never decay. you will find out. Oh, yeah, what I'm saying to you. That a good education will never decay. Oh, yeah, that a good education will never decay. Little children, hear me, that a good.
It's the International Decade of Healthy Aging, the International Decade of Ecosystem Restoration, the International Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development, the Decade of Action for Road Safety, and 2022 marks the start of the UN International Decade of Indigenous Languages. It's the second day of the fifth month of 2022, the International Year of Sustainable Mountain Development, the International Year of Basic Sciences for Sustainable Development, the International Year of Glass, and the International Year of Artisanal Fisheries and Aquaculture. Muslims around the world are still observing the holy month of Ramadan, which has been running for just about 30 days now, will end at sundown today, the 2nd of May, 2022. A reminder that Ramadan is the 9th month of the Islamic calendar. The holy month of Ramadan is a time for fasting, prayer, and community for Muslims across the world. Other observances on this day, it's the second day of labor in Russia and Slovenia, 2 de Mayo in España, the King's birthday in Lesotho, National Flag Day in Poland, Brothers and Sisters Day in the USA. Baha'is are marking the 12th day of Ridvan, and Jamaicans are celebrating Education Week. That's right, this week is Education Week here in Jamaica. And indeed, this month is Child Month. This is the second day of Child Month. And hoy es 2 de mayo 2022. Y les saludamos en cualquier parte del mundo que nos están escuchando en este momento. Estamos muy agradecidos por el don de la vida y el privilegio de servirles en otra edición de este programa, Both Sides of the Story, ambos lados de la historia. Nunca vamos a tomar su audiencia por sentado, porque sabemos que ustedes tienen otras opciones. Y esta es la razón por la cual jamás olvidamos darle las gracias por elegir Both Sides of the Story, ambos lados de la historia, de lunes a viernes desde las 2 hasta las 5 de la tarde, aquí en Power 106 FM. La misión continua para educar, capacitar, iluminar y estimular el espíritu empresarial. Bienvenidos.
Little girls, oh yeah, just take my advice.
C'est lundi, le 2 mai 2022, et nous vous saluons tous qui nous écoutez, où que vous soyez dans le monde. Nous sommes reconnaissants du don de la vie ainsi que du privilège d'être à votre service par une nouvelle édition de votre programme Both Sides of the Story, le pour et le contre. Nous ne considérons pas votre fidélité comme l'un de soi parce que nous savons que vous avez l'embarras du choix. C'est pourquoi nous n'oublions jamais de vous remercier de choisir d'écouter Both Sides of the Story, le pour et le contre, du lundi au vendredi de 2h à 5h de l'après-midi sur notre antenne Power 106 FM. Nous continuons notre mission d'éduquer, d'habiliter, d'éclairer et d'encourager l'esprit d'entreprise. Bienvenue.
Go to school and
All we're saying is it's Monday, the 2nd of May, 2022, and we greet you well, wherever in the world you are listening to us right now. We remain eternally grateful for the gift of life and the privilege to serve you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story. We don't ever take your listenership for granted because we know you have choices. And that's why we never ever forget to remember to say thanks for choosing to listen to Both Sides of the Story, Monday to Friday, 2 to 5, right here on Power 106 FM. The mission continues to educate, empower, enlighten, and encourage entrepreneurship. Welcome.
Learning is better than silver or gold. Silver and gold will vanish away. But I could.
And here is one that we separated from the pack so you would never ever forget it again going forward, because this is the first year that the Atlantic hurricane season is starting in the month of May. So yesterday, the 1st of May, marked the start of the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season. The Atlantic hurricane season has started. If you have done nothing to minimize the impact on your dwelling since last year, you are actually late because the season has started. But then again, better late than never. And there's another saying, make hay while the sun shines. So let's check to make sure our papers are in order, our insurance papers, in terms of our property, in terms of the general upkeep of our premises. How is there anything that could pose a danger in the event of a hurricane? After all, the season has started. So this is the second day of the first month of the Atlantic hurricane season. So normally it would start the 1st of June, effective yesterday, Sunday, the 1st of May. The 2020 Atlantic hurricane season got underway. Spread the word, cause it to go viral, please, so that as many people as possible can in fact say they heard it on the radio and have an appreciation for the fact that the Atlantic hurricane season is starting 1 month earlier than usual. So welcome to the second day of the first month of the 2022 Atlantic hurricane season. Let's make hay while the sun shines. Do what we need to do to make sure we have our house in order, literally and figuratively. There you go. And you'll be hearing this missive every single day that we're on. How about that? Now, where were we? So, right, it is what it is. The start of the Atlantic hurricane season. Good afternoon to those of you listening to us on 106.1, 106.3, 106.5, 106.7, and 106.9 from Moran Point to Negril Point, from the Goat Islands to Galena Point. This is Power 106 FM, serving Jamaica and the diaspora. More in a moment.
Little boys, little girls, oh yeah, just take my advice and go to school.
Walk into Marjan's Pharmacy and you will feel better. The service is clearly different. Marjan's Pharmacy, call 876-703-6335. The time by Marjan's Pharmacy is
2:15. The Pesticides Control Authority, PCA, of the Ministry of Health has been onboarded to the Jamaica Single Window for Trade, JSWIFT. Effective April 11, 2022, the Pesticides Control Authority, PCA, has been facilitating online applications of all import permits for pesticides, herbicides, fumigants, and other related products. Traders and their agents will now be able to make online application to obtain both pre- and approved permits, and also make payment for the PCA import cess. Benefits include a single application for multiple items within the same shipment, faster processing, increased convenience, and ease of doing business. The PCA import permit service now on JSWIFT.
All you'll ever need to know about agriculture in the 21st century, packed into one program. Farm Talk with Althea Mackenzie. Farm Talk, showcasing cutting-edge agricultural products, services, and practices. Farm Talk, keeping focus on issues affecting the farming community. Farm Talk, stimulating discourse to propel agriculture as a national tool for development. Farm Talk with Althea Mackenzie, the farmer's best friend.
When I listen to you in the mornings and the way you interview the people so that us as farmers can really understand, you break it down. It's really powerful.
Wake up to Farm Talk, weekdays 5 to 7 a.m. on Power 106 FM and the Power 106 FM app.
Labor for learning. For you to go on.
Good afternoon to those of you who have dialed a number to listen to both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. If you're in the United States and you wish to dial a number to listen to Power 106 FM, your number is 631-359-8281, 631-359-8281. If you're in the United Kingdom and you wish to dial a number to listen to Power 106 FM, you can call 0330-606-0953, 0330-606-0953. We're streaming live video on the Dervan Malcolm Facebook page. If you're not there yet, log on to Facebook. In the search box atop the page, type DERVAN MALCOLM, and you too will be able to not just hear but see what's happening in the studios of Power 106 FM. If you don't have a Facebook account, there's always YouTube. You don't need to have any account. You just need a smart or not so smart device and internet connection. Open a browser, type YouTube, and if you do that now, you should see this video trending. If not, then in the YouTube search box, type DERVAN MALCOLM, and you too will be able to not just hear but see what's happening in the studios of Power 106 FM. What's on your mind this afternoon? Taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5, 876-922-4112-5, the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, which means you can not only send us your text messages, your WhatsApp messages, your voice notes, but you can call us on WhatsApp as well. That number, 876-365-3346, 876-365-3346. And let's see now. Can we go into the archives for a change? Let's go into the archives. On this day in 2006, the Gleaner reported that the opposition spokesman on finance, Audley Shaw, offered 3 alternative economic solutions to spur the country towards broad-based investment, growth, and economic development. Among the solutions was a new debt reduction strategy, which he said urgently needed attention. He recommended that the multi-billion-dollar Petrocaribe Fund be used to pay down expensive debt. He also recommended that the government borrows less expensive money from the Development Bank the World Bank, and the Caribbean Development Bank to replace expensive instruments as they mature. With respect to economic growth, Mr. Shaw recommended an aggressive export-oriented industrial policy by making investments in new, fast-growing sectors such as agribusiness, light manufacturing, and health tourism. He also recommended a revival of the agricultural sector. Where have we heard that before? A revival of the agricultural sector. Anyway, he also recommended a revival of the agricultural sector by putting in place a support program for small farmers that allows them access to affordable credit at single-digit interest rates. The opposition spokesman suggested that the government should put in place incentives such as removing general consumption tax, GCT, customs duties, and user fees on capital goods and raw materials for the private sector. So that was the policy position put forward by the opposition spokesman on finance, Audley Shaw, on this day in 2006. Also, on this day in 2006, the Prime Minister of Malaysia, Dato Seri Abdullah Ahmad Badawi, arrived in Jamaica on this day in 2006 for a 2-day visit. Jamaica and Malaysia have enjoyed cordial and mutually beneficial relationships since establishing diplomatic ties on November 28, 1975. On this day in 2005, the Bustamante Industrial Trade Union, BITU, pulled out of the Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, with government and called on member unions of the Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions, JCTU, to do the same. BITU Vice President at the time, Senator Dwight Nelson, called upon the government to enter into immediate negotiations with all entities in the public sector to provide increases in salaries and fringe benefits to all workers in the public sector with immediate effect. Going through the archives at this time, let's go to, still in 2005, the Gleaner published a report from the National Council on Drug Abuse indicating that there were about 180,000 ganja users in Jamaica. That was 2005. We have no doubt that it's way more than 180,000 now. On this day in 2005, Chris Gayle batted his way to a magnificent 317 as West Indies reached 565 for 5 at close of play on the penultimate day of the final test against South Africa. Gayle's epic innings was the highest ever made against South Africa, surpassing Australian Donald Bradman's 299 not out, which he scored in Adelaide, 1931-32. Shivnarine Chanderpaul was 82 not out with Dwayne Bravo on 10 in reply to South Africa's first innings score of 588 for 6 declared. On this day in 2003, Prime Minister P.J. Patterson said calls for changes to libel and defamation laws in Jamaica would be greatly enhanced if media owners would agree to impose professional penalties to protect any citizen or institution which has been undeniably wronged. Mr. Patterson said his Caribbean community colleagues were willing to examine the recommendations for change to the existing libel laws and that the CARICOM Secretariat had already ordered a study on the issues. That's 2003. On this day in 2002, the security forces reported that they detained 54 people and seized illegal guns and ammunition when they raided the adjoining South St. Andrew communities of Wilton Gardens, Rima, and Federal Gardens in a bid to quell gang violence there. The police said 9 people had been shot in the 2 communities during the last 3 days in the flare-up of gang fighting. That's 2002 in Jamaica. Let's go to the 90s now. On this day in 1996, Portia Simpson was left in charge of the government after Prime Minister P.J. Patterson left the island on a 4-day visit to Chicago in the U.S. Ms. Simpson, as she was at the time, was the Minister of Labor, Welfare and Sports. 1996 as well, Jamaica and West Indies batsman bowler Jimmy Adams was named man of the match and player of the series as the second test match with New Zealand ended in a tame draw at the Antigua Recreation Ground. The left-hander, who slammed a double century in his team's first innings 5 days previously, also played a pivotal role in the winning effort of the West Indies in the first test in Barbados 10 days earlier. He then grabbed 5 wickets for 17 runs as the West Indies romped to a commanding 10-wicket victory and a 1-0 lead. In 1995, let's back up, not 1995. Let's go to, still with 1996. On this day in 1996, opposition leader Edward Seaga lashed the government and its budget prescription, declaring that the national debt increased by 543% from $30 billion to $163 billion since 1988, and that debt service had increased, not decreased, by more than 16 times. Having boycotted the debate in Parliament, the opposition took to the Wyndham New Kingston Hotel to point out the overall focus of the government's presentation avoided specific treatment of the major concerns. The focus, he said, was on debt management, the break with the IMF, and the strength of the NIR. But the treatment pointedly avoided the true position on debt, IMF, and NIR, Seaga stated. He said the Minister of Finance, with great glee, rejoiced that the national debt had been reduced from 120% of GDP in 1991 to 73% of GDP in 1994. What he did not say was that this was due to an inflated GDP, not to reduce debt. Lambasting the government for errors of judgment, Mr. Seaga said the premature liberalization of the foreign exchange regulations in 1991 and the premature termination of the borrowing arrangements with the IMF in 1995 were two disastrous errors of mistiming because of the government. And let's go now to 1978. Howard Cook was appointed to act as chairman of the People's National Party following the resignation of David Corr on this day in 1978. In 1973, Prime Minister Michael Manley announces in his budget speech that from September, no more tuition fees would be paid by students attending grant-aided secondary schools, and from September 1974, free tuition will be available for all students who qualify for admission to the University of the West Indies. In addition, the material for one school uniform for each child in grade 1, age 6, and grade 2, age 7, will be provided. So that was 1973 in Jamaica. In 1975, Minister with responsibility for culture, Howard Cook, dissolved the Miss Jamaica Beauty Contest and suspended participation by the Jamaica Festival Commission in international beauty contests. The commission said in future it would promote an annual Jamaica Festival Queen, the criteria for which would be based on creative talent, intelligence, charm, and a genuine awareness of Jamaican affairs, together with an assessment of her participation in activities which contribute to the betterment of her community. Andrea Lyon, who was crowned Miss Jamaica 1974, November 1974, yes, is therefore the last to hold this title. I think she used to work at Pora 106 FM. Is it the same Lyon, Andrea Lyon? We need to double check that. Let's leave the history there for now and come back with Land Solutions.
Knowledge is power. Class is in session. Power 106.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:30.
Who says an excellent medical education has to be expensive?
The Caribbean School of Medical Sciences, Jamaica, offers quality training through our affordable pre-med and Doctor of Medicine programs. Our aim is to develop a quality workforce of professionals. We offer excellent facilities, experienced lecturers, and hands-on learning. Plus, scholarships are now available. Secure the career of your dreams by applying today. Visit us at 77 Shortwood Road, Kingston 8, or send us an email at info@csmsj.edu.jm. Caribbean School of Medical Sciences, Jamaica, your first stop to success in medicine and health sciences. Healthy habits start with washing your hands several times daily with soap and water. If soap is not available, then use Benjamin's hand sanitizer and use Benjamin's rubbing alcohol for frequently touched surfaces to help prevent the spread of germs and viruses. Don't touch your face with your hands or rub your eyes. Any virus on your hands can make you sick, so wash your hands frequently. Your health is in your hands. Stay healthy with Benjamin's, a trusted name for over a century. Manage your waste and save. Learn more about various wastewater systems for farms and residential use, assistance in getting NEPA licenses, and monitoring and characterization of your wastewater. Tune in to Real Business this and every Tuesday at 10 a.m. for Manage Your Waste and Save. Brought to you by the Scientific Research Council Wastewater Management Services. Environmentally conscious, responsive, and solution-oriented. That's Manage Your Waste and Save. Listen every Tuesday at 10 a.m. doing Real Business, right here on Power 106 FM.
It's a Monday afternoon, just after 2:30, and that means time for Land Solutions. Land Solutions, the program where all your land-related matters are dealt with. Anything at all to do with the sale or purchase of land, you've come to the right place. Here are the numbers to call: 876-922-4113-5, 876-922-4113-5. The text line for Land Solutions is the same as the WhatsApp number, and that number is 876-881-5254, 876-881-5254. The website is landsolutionsja.com, landsolutionsja.com. The email address is gloria@landsolutionsja.com, gloria@landsolutionsja.com. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/landsolutionsja, facebook.com/landsolutionsja. The law firm Brown, Findley and Company is headquartered in Suite 39 of the Winchester Business Center, corner of Winchester Road and Hope Road in Halfway Tree, St. Andrew. They also have an office upstairs, the Jamaica National Building in Ocho Rios, St. Anne. You're encouraged to call ahead before turning up at the offices of Brown, Findley and Company. The Ocho Rios office is, as we said, upstairs, the JN Building in the Garden Parish. And there's a lawyer there on duty every Thursday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. You can call the Ocho Rios office direct, 876-974-6083, 876-974-6083. The regular numbers at the headquarters of Land of Brown, Findley and Company, 876-908-3518. That's 876-908-3518 or 876-908-1950. 876-908-1950. In a moment, your host on Land Solutions for today, attorney at law, Calicia Findley.
Good afternoon, Dervan. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, listeners. Thank you for tuning in to another edition of Land Solutions. As Dervan just said, I'm Calicia Findley, and I'll be your host for today. As always, feel free to call in or send your messages. Again, the text and WhatsApp line 876-881-5254, and the numbers to call in live on air 876-922-4113 I'll get right into our text messages. Someone wants to know if their father can make a will even though he has dementia. So, can my father make a will even though he has dementia? To make a will, you have to show that you have the mental capacity. So you have to show that you are aware of what is happening around you, you're aware of your surroundings. And someone with dementia, unfortunately, would not be aware. So a person with dementia cannot or should not make a will. If for any reason someone with memory issues, even mental issues, if they make a will, the will can be challenged. And I know especially for persons who are elderly, you may have good days, you may have bad days, you may have some days where you are as bright as rain, and then there may be some days when you can't quite remember. In a situation like that, and let me just back up a little bit. For those of you who are considering making a will, especially for elderly parents or elderly family members, do it as soon as possible. Do it while the person is lucid, while they still have all their faculties. Because you don't want to end up in a situation where after they have passed on, you may have a challenge to the will on the basis that the person was forced or they were not aware of what was happening. If it's a situation where they are a little forgetful, take them to the doctor, have the doctor do an assessment. If they want to do their will, have the doctor give you a written report saying that this person is competent, and if possible, do the will as close as possible to that date. But again, it can be a little bit of a challenge. So as much as possible, try to avoid any of these issues by doing your wills or having your family members do their wills before they get to a stage where they don't have the requisite mental capacity. Continuing with our messages, a man living on family land married a woman and died. What right does the wife have? I think there may be an error with this message. A man living on family land married a woman. It's okay, the man died, and the wife wants to know what rights she has. All right. We should all by now be aware of the Property Rights of Spouses Act. The Property Rights of Spouses Act makes provisions for what we call matrimonial property or the family code. And in summary, it says that each spouse is entitled to a half of the property just by virtue of it being the matrimonial property. The property has to either be in one spouse's name or both spouses' name. If it is what we regularly refer to in Jamaica as family land, if it's family land, meaning it's someone else's name on the title and a family member, or even if it is your spouse's name on the title along with one of their relatives, just by virtue of that means that it cannot qualify as the matrimonial home. So don't just think that because you live in a house with your wife or your husband, it is where you are all the time. That by itself does not mean that it is the matrimonial home. Again, it either has to be in your name or the spouse's name alone, that is the title, or both names. If there's a third party's name on it, then it cannot qualify as the matrimonial home. So in this case, this person would not be automatically entitled to a 50% share in the property because it cannot qualify as a matrimonial home. She could perhaps make a claim otherwise by virtue of what she has spent on the property, but it cannot qualify as family home. And let me just say, for those of you who are moving on to your spouse's family land, everybody seems nice and wonderful in the beginning, But when the marriage goes sour, when one party dies, invariably we see that there's a change in the family and they want you off. So please, and no times are hard. I know everybody wants to find somewhere to live, but as much as possible. I mean, I'm hesitant to say because I know I understand how hard times are, but as much as possible, don't invest in property that is not yours. Why are you going to buy blocks and building materials, paying workmen, building a nice, lovely house, and the title is not in your name?
Perhaps you could come back to that point. We have a caller
Certainly,
on
Dervan.
standby for you.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon, Miss Henry.
Afternoon, how may I help?
Hello?
Yes, go ahead. You're live on air. How may I help
Okay,
you?
I can hardly hear you. I got a couple of questions. Can someone who's squatting survey a piece of property? Well, the thing is, somebody's squatting on my property, and we went to court, and they said they're not in agreement with my survey, so they're trying to say they want to survey it also.
All right. Yes, they can survey, but what you should do is when someone engages a surveyor to do a survey, the surveyor sends out notices to the property owner and the surrounding persons. So once you receive that notice, you should object to it.
Oh, okay.
When you say that you are currently in court with the person?
Yes, ma'am. We're in court with the person.
Let me ask you a question, though. Is it that the judge ordered that person to get it surveyed?
No, that person suggested that they want to survey it themselves because they're not, matter of fact, they are encroaching. They're not fully on my property. They're encroaching like on my side of the property. So I surveyed it and they let them know that they are encroaching certain amounts and they're not in agreement with my surveying. They said they want to do their own survey. Well, the judge didn't order. The judge said, well, if you want to survey, you can go ahead and survey.
He can. But like I said, you can object. But like I said, what will happen, you see, because you are already in court, the court may eventually order that person does a survey, and then both surveyors will have to come together to decide, or the court can also order a particular surveyor to do the survey.
Okay.
Because you're in court, if you object to it, you might just be delaying the inevitable.
If I
object to it, you might just end up going back to court for the judge to order that he can go ahead and survey. But let me just say to you, him getting a survey doesn't mean that he is the owner of the property. The survey is just a diagram that shows the outline of the property.
Yeah, I know he's not the owner. He's squatting. He's squatting.
How long has he been there?
Excuse me?
How long has he been squatting?
He's been there like 8 years now. We've been in court ever since, we've been in court ever since. And the judge, another judge has told him he should move like, say, 5 feet, and he moved 2 feet, and he moved 2 feet, and there's still like remainders to move. So that's why we're going back to court for him to move the other 2 feet that he's supposed to move. So,
is your survey diagram in evidence in court?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right, that's good.
Okay.
You're saying you have another question?
Yeah, if you're going to raise somebody's rent, you got to give them like notice, 30-day notice to raise the rent, or how does that go?
Yes. Usually you give them notice, and the law says you can't increase it by more than 7.5% every year.
Yeah. So is there a time limit, like 30 days or...
Usually it is 30 days. If you have a lease agreement, it usually says that at the end of the lease, usually a 1-year lease, then you can go ahead and increase it. But give them notice. So a 30-day notice is fine.
Okay. One other question.
Sure.
There was a new rent law that was supposed to be bringing out or something like that. I don't know.
But we've been hearing that for years. It still hasn't been passed. We're working on it. Yes, I know. It's been years and years and years.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Miss Finley.
Sure, take care. Thanks for listening and thanks for calling.
Okay, you're doing a marvelous job. Okay?
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Sure. This is Land Solutions.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
245.
Lubit, the home of lubricant products. Test Star Lubricant Products. Sunoco Race Fuels. Fuel Tech Cleaning and Polishing Services. Lubit industrial and automotive fluids are well recognized globally. Their products adhere to the highest standards and specification within each product category. They distribute island-wide for commercial and industrial use. Lubit products and expertise are second to none. Lubit Lubricant Products. Distributed by Caribbean Offshore Trading Company Limited. Call 649-7540. That's 649-7540. Call now.
Healthy habits start with washing your hands several times daily with soap and water. If soap is not available, then use Benjamin's hand sanitizer and use Benjamin's rubbing alcohol for frequently touched surfaces to help prevent the spread of germs and viruses. Don't touch your face with your hands or rub your eyes. Any virus on your hands can make you sick, so wash your hands frequently. Your health is in your hands. Stay healthy with Benjamin's, a trusted name for over a century.
Both sides of the story.
We always need to hear both sides of the story. Both sides of the story.
Stories from Jamaica and across the world, keeping you informed on the issues of the day and more. It's Both Sides of the Story with Dervan Malcolm, weekdays from 2 to 5 p.m. Learn interesting facts and trivia. Participate in lively discussions on affairs locally and internationally. Hear the stories of business, philanthropy, and more from Jamaicans at home and abroad on Both Sides of the Story. Come tell your side of the story. Both Sides of the Story with Dervan Malcolm, on a mission to educate, empower, enlighten, and encourage entrepreneurship. Weekdays 2 to 5 p.m. Live on Power 106 FM and the Power 106 FM app.
Land Solutions continues here during Both Sides of the Story on Power 106 FM. Taking your calls on 876-923. Let's do that again. 876-922-4113-5. 876-922-4113-5. The website is landsolutionsja.com. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/landsolutionsja. The email address is gloria@landsolutionsja.com. The law firm Brown, Findlay and Company is headquartered in Suite 39 of the Winchester Business Center, corner of Winchester Road and Hope Road in Halfway Tree, St. Andrew. They also have an office at Shop 6 upstairs, the Jamaica National Building in Ocho Rios, St. Anne. You're encouraged to call ahead instead of turning up. The numbers to call the law firm Brown, Findlay and Company, 876-908-1950 or 876-908-3518. If you wish to dial direct the Ocho Rios office, that number is 876-974-6083. 876-974-6083. A lawyer is on duty every Thursday at the Ocho Rios office of the law firm Brown, Findlay and Company from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Once again, here's attorney at law, Calicia Findlay.
Thank you, Dervan. Over to WhatsApp. If a person who is next in line to apply for administration has dementia, what is the next step? So someone is to apply for someone is to apply for administration, that person has dementia. The person who would then follow that person in the chain of representation can make the application, and in stating why they're applying and not the person entitled before them, they would state that the person is unable by reason of dementia, and they would exhibit a copy of the medical report from a doctor confirming that the person has dementia. Continuing with WhatsApp, in a case where a property is being sold, do I have to continue paying the mortgage? Do I have to continue paying the mortgage if the purchaser's mortgage company will pay off the mortgage from the proceeds? That's an excellent question. Yes, you do have to continue paying your mortgage. A sale is not finalized until the purchaser's name is on the title and the monies have been paid out. So let us say you have a sale agreement dated May 1st, and it is a 4-month or 120-day contract. So May, June, July, August, September, I think May, June, July, yes. That would take you up to September. Between May and September, you still have to continue making your mortgage payments. You don't want to be in a situation where the sale goes longer than September, you haven't made the payments, and your mortgage company is taking steps or your mortgage company takes steps to go ahead and sell your property or to foreclose. The same goes for property taxes too. The vendor, the owner of the house, is responsible for making property tax payments until the sale has been completed. Tenants too is another issue I see arising. Many tenants who are purchasing the property that they're living in, they feel that they don't have to continue paying their rent once they sign the sale agreement. Signing the sale agreement is just the beginning of the process. Again, the sale isn't completed until name is on title and monies have been paid over. So if you have a 1-year sale agreement or even a 4-month sale agreement, you still have to continue making your rent payments. And again, to this person, yes, you have to continue making your mortgage payments. So yes, we know when you're selling a property and you have a mortgage on it, the money that you're getting from the purchaser or from the purchaser's mortgage company, they will use that to pay out your mortgage. But not because that is happening means that you should stop making your mortgage payments for the reasons I stated before. And also, when you make late payments, you're going to have late fees, interest, and other charges. So you're going to end up losing more money if you stop making the payments. So yes, please continue making those payments.
We have another caller for you, Calicia. Mm-hmm.
Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, how may I help? I have a problem. I'd like to give me some good advice. I'll try my best. Go ahead. I'm looking after an elderly person, but he will the house and the land to me, and that the house needs to repair. I'm asking you if I can go ahead and repair the house, or what's the problem behind it? Oh, I would not advise you to do that because, yes, you're hearing me? Hello? Hello? Perhaps if we close the line, then maybe she can hear me. I'm not sure. So this person is saying that she is taking care of an elderly person. They have willed the property to her and the house needs to be repaired. And she wants to know if she should go ahead and start making the repairs. I don't think she should. Because the person can change their mind and do another will unbeknownst to her. And you don't want to be in a situation where you have taken money out of your pocket to pay for these repairs, and then you don't end up becoming the owner of the house. Hello? I'm not sure if we still have that call.
No, sorry, Calicia, lost the caller.
No problem, Dervan. So again, someone brings property to you, it needs to be repaired. I wouldn't advise you to go ahead and start making repairs because the property is not yours until the person dies. A will only comes into effect after death. And as many of you will know, someone can make a will today and will the house to Mary. Tomorrow they can change their mind and will it to John, and Mary may not know of that change. If the person has any funds now to perhaps go ahead and make some repairs to the property, or you can go ahead now and make some repairs and they pay you back, you can explore those options. I'm not certain if those are possible, but explore them and then let me know. Again, our numbers to call in live on air is 76-922-411-325. Email gloria@landsolutions.com. WhatsApp and text line 876-881-5254, and to call the law offices of Brown, Finley and Company. The numbers are 876-908-1950, and 876-908-3518. Over to our text line. I'm on title with my mother who died in the U.S., but I can't get her death certificate. What can I do? For many states, yes, we said in the U.S. For many states in the U.S., you can go online to make the application for a death certificate. In some states, anybody can do it. In others, you have to show that you are related to the person. You shouldn't have an issue since it's your mother. So depending on each state is different. So just do a simple search to see how to apply for the death certificate and make the application. There's some instances whether the person died here in Jamaica or overseas for various reasons where someone is unable to get a death certificate. If you can show to the court or to the titles office that you have tried to apply for a death certificate and you can't get it, then in some cases they will accept what we call affidavit, an affidavit in proof of death. And usually it has to be from 3 persons who attended the funeral and saw the body being interred. So they'll have to speak to those facts. But try as much as possible to make the application for the death certificate. Failing that, absolute last resort, then if you can find 3 persons who attended the funeral, then you can have your attorney prepare what we call affidavits in proof of death for those persons to sign. And if you also have the person's funeral program, you can exhibit that to your court application, and that will also help in the absence of a death certificate. What determines how expensive the administration process is? What determines how expensive the administration process is? The value of the estate. The cost to administer an estate is about 8 to 10%, and that includes legal fees, estate duties, and court fees. I mean, we have miscellaneous costs like costs to advertise the application. The same applies for probate, except with probate, we don't have to make an application. We don't have to do an advertisement, I should say. So again, the value of the estate, of course, the more valuable the estate is, the more expensive it will be, because administration and probate costs are based on a percentage of the estate. So if you are administering an estate and the total value of the estate is $50 million, you can do the math. 8 to 10% of $50 million is not cheap. Again, if the estate is valued less than $10 million, you won't have to pay any estate duties, but you still have legal fees. So once the estate is valued less than $10 million, you get a $0 or nil assessment. For those of you who need to make an application for administration or probate, it goes without saying, do it as quickly as possible, because the longer you wait, it gets more expensive. Everything gets more expensive, and particularly for estate duties. If you pay them more than a year after the person has died, then interest of 6% per annum goes on to the outstanding estate duties until they are paid. If a landowner gives permission to occupants, can they still claim and succeed in adverse possession? This is a thought-provoking question. Generally speaking, to be successful in an adverse possession application, you have to show that you have been on the property without the owner's permission, because you are occupying it or you are possessing it adverse to the owner's interest. You are treating it as if you're treating it as if it is your own property. So you're not going to have permission from someone to live on property, and then you are now on it as if it's your own, because you have that permission. However, that permission can expire, and I'll get back to that shortly. This is Live Solutions.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3 o'clock.
Both sides of the story.
We always need to hear both sides of the story. Both sides of the story.
Stories from Jamaica and across the world, keeping you informed on the issues of the day and more. It's Both Sides of the Story with Dervan Malcolm, weekdays from 2 to 5 p.m. Learn interesting facts and trivia. Participate in lively discussions on affairs locally and internationally. Hear the stories of business, philanthropy, and more from Jamaicans at home and abroad on Both Sides of the Story. Come tell your side of the story. Both Sides of the Story with Dervan Malcolm, on a mission to educate, empower, enlighten, and encourage entrepreneurship. Weekdays 2 to 5 p.m. Live on Power 106 FM and the Power 106 FM app.
You're listening to Land Solutions during Both Sides of the Story here on Power 106 FM. Land Solutions, the program where all your land-related matters are dealt with. Anything at all to do with the sale or purchase of land. You've come to the right place. Here are the numbers to call: 876-922-4113 to 5. 876-922-4113 to 5. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-881-5254. 876-881-5254. We're streaming live video, of course, as well, for those of you who would like to see what's happening in the studios. And the law firm Brown, Findlay and Company is headquartered in Suite 39 of the Winchester Business Center, corner of Winchester Road and Hope Road in Halfway Tree, St. Andrew. They also have an office at Shop 6 upstairs, the JN Building in Ocho Rios, St. Anne. You're encouraged to call ahead instead of turning up. A reminder that there is a lawyer on duty every Thursday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Ocho Rios offices of the law firm Brown, Findlay and Company. And if you'd like, you could call the Ocho Rios office direct. You can dial direct. The Ocho Rios office number is 876-974-6083. 876-974-6083. The regular numbers for the law firm Brown, Findlay and Company, 876-908-1950 and 876-908-3518. Once again, here's attorney at law, Calicia Findlay.
Thank you, Dervan. Continuing with that message, if a landowner gives permission to occupants, can they still claim and succeed in adverse possession? So as I was saying, if you have permission to be on someone's property, you cannot make an application for adverse possession. And when we speak of adverse possession applications, we're referring to applications on the basis that someone has been on the property for a certain period of time undisturbed, and by virtue of being there for that period, they have acquired ownership of the property and are therefore making an application for the title. Similar to what everybody in common parlance refers to as squatters, right? So once you have permission, you can't apply for adverse possession, but that permission can expire. Usual scenario is someone may give you permission to take care of their property while they're overseas, or they rent you the property for a year, 5 years, and then you don't hear anything from the owner or from the landlord again. And it sounds strange, but it happens so often. I've had several cases where persons rent property, pay the rent faithfully for years, then all of a sudden they don't hear anything from the landlord, they don't see them, and then they're on the property for 10, 20, 30 years. So in a case like that, where the permission expires or where you stop paying rent, and you can show that if it's privately owned property, and if you can show that you have been undisturbed for 12 years after your permission ended, or like I said, after you stop paying rent, then yes, you can go ahead and make the application for adverse possession. So what most persons are accustomed to is just squatters getting up one day, going on someone's property without their permission, being there for 12 years, then making an application for adverse possession and then succeeding. But you can have successful applications where someone went on the property initially as a tenant or with some other type of permission. Who's liable to pay for a new diagram? I gave my diagram to my lawyer to submit to the parish council, and it got lost during the process. That's an interesting one. Well, what is your lawyer saying? What is the parish council saying? I suspect your lawyer may say, well, I submitted it to the parish council. The parish council is probably saying they never got it, or maybe if they got it, they have somehow misplaced it. Or maybe even the lawyer is saying that they have misplaced it. The cost to get, a lot of people believe that if you've lost the diagram, that you have to get the land surveyed again. No, you don't. You can get a certified copy of the survey, and you get it from the National Land Agency. You can make the request to use the same surveyor who did it or any other surveyor. It's actually not expensive. If I'm not mistaken, it might be $5,000 or $10,000. Don't quote me on that. But I mean, not it's not expensive, but it's not as expensive as if you were doing a whole new survey of the property. So I don't know what your situation is, but if your diagram has been misplaced and you can't quite determine whether it's the attorney's fault or the parish council's fault, if you can, just go ahead and get a certified copy, because if you end up waiting on your attorney or the parish council, we know how it is when documents go missing in government agencies. If you sit there waiting on them, nothing may come of it. And the process to get a certified copy is relatively easy. So if I were you, I would explore that option. Continuing with our WhatsApp messages. Can someone change their affidavit or their fixed date claim form after an injunction is granted by the court? Can they change it to something different? It will all depend on the circumstances and in particular what has changed. But generally speaking, once you get an order from the court, once the court grants an injunction, and an injunction really is also a type of court order, then the party can't just go and say, well, the court ordered X, so I'm now going to do another affidavit and say something else. It doesn't work like that. But let us say someone filed an affidavit, the court acted on it, but then subsequent to that, they can show that something was wrong or there was an error. If it's something like that, then one of the parties would have to appeal. So you can't or you shouldn't go ahead and change, because once an order is made, that is the end of it. Once the court makes an order, that's the end of the matter. So in your case, it would be best to file an appeal if you want to have some, or if you disagree with the ruling of the court. In your case, you seem to be saying the court made an order and now the other person has changed their affidavit. It would then be on your side, your attorney's side, to respond accordingly to that person's new or quote-unquote revised affidavit. And in a case like that, we refer to it, if it is that they're just unhappy with the court's ruling, we refer to that as an abuse of process. And the courts don't look lightly on that. So have your attorney act on that as soon as possible. Over to our Facebook page. And again, our Facebook page is facebook.com/landsolutions. How long does it take after submission at a parish council to get titles to be able to pay your property taxes? How long does it take after submission at the parish council to get titles and to be able to pay your property taxes? Parish council approval takes about 18 months to 2 years. I suspect this may be a case for an application for subdivision. So with subdivision, the surveyor comes in, prepares the plan, submits them to the parish council, and that's what takes about 18 months to 2 years. And that is for us to get the subdivision approval. Once we get that, now then we can make an application to the titles office to get your individual title in your name. And that could take maybe about 6 to 8 weeks, or maybe a little more, but usually about 6 to 8 weeks. It's only then that you, no, I shouldn't say it's only then, but usually you have to wait until you get your title in your name to pay your property taxes. But there can be cases where you can go to the land valuation department to get your name put on the tax roll. But generally speaking, a lot of persons only decide to apply for a title or try to cut up their property because they want to pay property taxes in their name. So we may have a 5-acre property and you're occupying a 1/4 acre. And of course, you don't want to pay taxes for the entire 5 acres because clearly that would be a lot. And if you're just occupying a 1/4 acre, you only want to pay property taxes for that 1/4 acre. And usually that is what I find drives people to make the application for their title. But don't wait, don't do it because you want to pay property taxes in your name. Do it because you want to, or you should have a title in your name. Because I can't see why you're going to be on property, on land for 30, 40, 50 years and you're not applying for a title in your name. Please, as soon as possible, get started. My tenant does not want me to inspect the house, and I suspect it's because they are using it for a business. Excuse me. What can I do? A tenant, similar to a landlord, they have to abide by certain rules and regulations. This is the law. You can call the rent assessment board to confirm. And one of the obligations of a tenant is to allow the landlord to inspect the property, provided that the landlord gives them reasonable notice. A landlord can't just show up to a tenant, to the house, knock on it and demand to be let in. You have to give them notice. If your tenant is using your property for something other than what was agreed in the lease, then that is a breach of the rental agreement, that's a breach of the lease agreement, and you can give your tenant notice. So, if I were you, I would have my attorney write the tenant, tell them to allow you to inspect the property, tell them what your suspicions are, and advise them that they are in breach if that is actually the case. But a tenant has to allow the landlord to inspect the property once the landlord gives them notice, reasonable notice. It depends on the situation, but I think reasonable notice can be a couple days, 2 to 3 days notice. I know many landlords, sometimes they will go on the weekend. And it all depends on the relationship you have with your tenant. Some landlords may probably have never even met the tenant. Some of them have long-standing tenants. They're like family. They can go there at any time and there's no issue. But again, they really should give notice. And the tenant, once they receive that notice, you should allow the landlord in. Yes, you are the tenant. You have every right to your peaceful occupation. But remember, this is the landlord's property. You are occupying it pursuant to the terms of the lease agreement. So you should allow them to inspect the property. And in terms of other obligations by the tenant, even if it is not stated explicitly in the lease agreement, there are some implied terms. So a tenant should take care of the property. You should keep it in good condition. And I'll touch on some obligations of the tenant right after the break. This is Land Solutions.
Coast to Coast Concrete, the high quality concrete for fencing, roofing, foundation, and road surfacing. Call 876-754-7472. The time by Coast to Coast Concrete is 3:15.
The Pesticides Control Authority, PCA, of the Ministry of Health has been onboarded to the Jamaica Single Window for Trade, JSWIFT. Effective April 11, 2022, the Pesticides Control Authority, PCA, has been facilitating online applications of all import permits for pesticides, herbicides, fumigants, and other related products. Traders and their agents will now be able to make online application to obtain both pre- and approved permits, and also make payment for the PCA import cess. Benefits include a single application for multiple items within the same shipment, faster processing, increased convenience, and ease of doing business. The PCA import permit service now on JSWIFT.
Farmers, come for a candid conversation with the Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries, the Honorable Pernell Charles Jr. Learn more about the agricultural sector and the role we all play with its development. That's a Morning with the Minister, every second and fourth Friday of every month during Farm Talk with Althea McKenzie, right here on Power 106 FM.
It's the final segment of today's edition of Land Solutions. Get in those questions now. Those who have been lingering a bit, it's time to get in those questions before this week's episode of Land Solutions comes to an end. Here are the numbers to call: 876-922-4113 to 5. 876-922-4113 to 5. The text line for Land Solutions is the same as the WhatsApp number, 876-881-5254, 876-881-5254. The website is landsolutionsja.com, landsolutionsja.com. The email address is gloria@landsolutionsja.com, gloria@landsolutionsja.com. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/landsolutionsja, facebook.com/landsolutionsja. The law firm Brown, Findlay and Company is headquartered in Suite 39 of the Winchester Business Center, corner of Winchester Road and Hope Road in Halfway Tree, St. Andrew. They do have an office at Shop 6 upstairs. The Ocho Rios office is at, it's upstairs, the Jamaica National Building. And a lawyer is on duty every Thursday at the Ocho Rios office of the law firm Brown, Findlay and Company. And you can dial that number direct for the Ocho Rios office, 876-974-6083, 876-974-6083. The other numbers for the law firm Brown, Findlay and Company, 876-908-1950 or 876-908-3518. For the final segment this afternoon, here's Attorney at Law, Calicia Findlay.
Thank you, Dervan. Let me, as I promised, let me just touch on some of the obligations of tenants. And this information can also be obtained from the website of the Rent Assessment Board. I had touched on this earlier. So one of the obligations is that the tenants is to keep the premises in good order and condition. Of course, it goes without saying that a tenant is to pay rent on the due date. If your rent is 1 day late, yes, you are in breach of your rental agreement, and the landlord can act accordingly. And I notice nowadays too that in many rental agreements, there is a late fee that is applied where rent is paid late. A tenant should also keep premises in a sanitary condition and refrain from any conduct which is a nuisance or annoyance to adjoining occupiers. I suspect most people in Jamaica have stories about annoying or neighbors who cause a nuisance, whether they're tenants or not. But as a tenant, you have a duty not to cause a nuisance or an annoyance to your neighbors. A tenant should also not cut down, injure, or destroy the landlord's trees without the landlord's consent. So you have a big tree, you feel that it is a nuisance to you, maybe messing up the yard, get the landlord's consent before you cut down the tree. A tenant should also refrain from using the amenities of the premises in a wasteful manner. So be conservative when it comes to the utilities. We have some situations, they're rare, but it happens, where some of the utilities are paid for by the landlords. And I've seen cases where, because the tenant isn't the one paying these utilities, they literally just leave lights on at all the time because they say this is the landlord who's paying them. This one I touched on earlier too. A tenant should permit the landlord or his agent at all reasonable times to enter upon and inspect the premises and the state and condition of every part to carry out necessary repairs. So yes, tenant, you should allow the landlord in to check for repairs and to also do those repairs if they are needed. And again, for the landlord, you must also ensure that you give the tenant reasonable notice when you're going to the property to inspect it and to repair it. We know, I think we're still living in COVID times. A lot of people are working from home. So a landlord can't just show up to a tenant to the house while the tenant is there working, show up there with workmen ready to start working. So you have to talk with your tenant and agree on a suitable time. Another obligation of the tenant, if while owing rent on the premises, he proposes or is obliged to vacate them, he should notify the landlord prior to leaving so that necessary arrangements can be made. And we see this happening all the time, where a tenant will just leave a property, it's gone off into the sunset. The landlord doesn't even know that they have left. They don't know when they left. Perhaps the landlord just realizes they're no longer receiving the rent, is trying to contact the tenant, can't find them, and only when they go to the property, they realize that the tenant has left the property. So, tenant, when you're leaving the property, you have an obligation to notify the landlord. And it's always good to not only to notify them because this is what it says, but if possible, the landlord and the tenant should do a walkthrough of the property together to agree on the state of the property that the tenant has left it in. Because we don't want the tenant to say, well, I left it in a good condition, but the landlord says, no, it was in a poor condition, and hence you're not getting back your security deposit, or I'm going to be suing you for all this damage. So if possible, both of you need to be there together after the tenant has left to do an inspection on the property. A tenant also has an obligation not to sublet the premises or any part of the premises without the landlord's consent, and that consent should be in writing. So you are a tenant, let's say you are renting a 2-bedroom house, you need extra money, you want to further rent, or what we refer to as sublet, a second bedroom, or in some cases, the tenants themselves may move out altogether and then want to rent the property to someone else. This must not be done without the consent of the landlord. And there is also a provision that says the landlord should not unreasonably withhold that consent. So tenants, please, if you sublet the property without your landlord's knowledge or consent, then that is also a breach. Someone wants to know if Airbnbs are illegal. I could do an entire broadcast on Airbnbs. So for those of you who may not know, Airbnbs are short-term rentals. In fact, Airbnb is one particular company, but I think we just refer to the entire sector as Airbnb. So short-term rentals are popping up everywhere. Some people are for them, particularly property owners who make good money from them. But a lot of people are also against them because of the problems they can create. So the question is, are Airbnbs illegal? It is not illegal to have short-term rentals of your property, but if you live within a certain community, let's say a strata, and they have certain rules against short-term rentals, then yes, it would be contrary to the law. Some people designate or some people consider Airbnb to be businesses, and usually in a lease agreement or in a home ownership agreement, it will state, and you will see this through sale agreements, that you're going to only be using the property for residential purposes. But if you have short-term renters coming in and out and you're making money off it, then some people say this is no longer a residential property, but it is a commercial property. You're carrying on a business or you're carrying on a trade. So that is one of the main issues with short-term rentals. Another major issue with short-term rentals is, and we have people who specialize in renting solely to short-term rentals. Another major issue too is the constant, and I'm choosing my words carefully, is the constant change in who is in your unit. You don't know the type of persons who will be there. You don't know how long they will be here. You have people coming and going at all hours of the day. And in many communities, they try to, or they deem themselves as exclusive communities. So they just want property owners there or long-term tenants. So a lot of people believe that when you have short-term renters, it reduces the value of the neighborhood. It affects the character of the neighborhood. So these are all factors to be considered. I know nowadays in many sale agreements, especially for apartment complexes, there is a clause in there that says when you're buying it that you will not use the property for short-term rentals or for any trade or business. So from the get-go, people are now trying to stop short-term rentals. But it is difficult. It is a hurdle. I suspect there may need to be some legislation discussing this, or so I should say legislation addressing it. I don't know if that will happen anytime soon, because as a caller had alluded to earlier, we've been waiting for years and years for the revised Rent Restriction Act. And if we still can't get that, I don't think we're going to probably get any meaningful legislation on short-term rentals, which is a relatively new occurrence. But notwithstanding that, it is here. So be very careful. If you're buying property with the intention of using it for Airbnb or any other type of short-term rental, look on the covenant, look on the homeowner's agreement, because you don't want to buy a property and then after you bought it, you realize, oh, I'm not able to use it for this purpose. If you currently have a property, let's say in an apartment complex, and your agreements, your bylaws, they don't speak to short-term rentals, you will need to bring this up at your regular meeting, to see how best to address it. And for property managers, this is something that you all need to agree on, have a meeting with all involved, because it is something that cannot be ignored. It's only going to keep on happening. Thanks again for tuning in to another edition of Land Solutions. I was your host for today, Khaleesi Finley. Thanks as always to the team at Co-op and to Dervan. Take care, everyone, and have a great day.
Provide proper invoices for customs when presenting goods for examination. This could prevent delays during clearance. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
3:30. Now, GPS lines can fall over for a number of reasons. Car accident, people putting trees on lines, or a hurricane. If you see a GPS line down, do not touch it. Don't jump on it. Do not try to move it. Call the professionals at GPS so they can deal with it. GPS is more than happy to sort out the problem once they know it exists. If you try to mess with a fallen power line, it can cause damage to yourself. Stay safe. Protect life and property. For assistance, call JPS at 888-225-5577. JPS, powering what matters.
Thinking about college? Why not consider a degree at the College of Agriculture, Science and Education, CASE? For affordable tuition and dedicated faculty, make it a great place to pursue one of our 20 programs. Come join us in picturesque Portland. Visit www.case.edu.jm or call us at 993-5377 to see how we can meet your education needs.
Manage your waste and save. Learn more about various wastewater systems for farms and residential use, assistance in getting NEPA licenses, and monitoring and characterization of your wastewater. Tune in to Real Business this and every Tuesday at 10 a.m. for Manage Your Waste and Save. Brought to you by the Scientific Research Council Wastewater Management Services, environmentally conscious, responsive, and solution-oriented. That's Manage Your Waste and Save. This and every Tuesday at 10 a.m. doing Real Business, right here on Power 106 FM.
Learning is better than silver or gold. Silver and gold will vanish away, but our good education will never decay.
In case you missed it, we started out earlier this afternoon with the words of Francis Bacon. Francis Bacon said, "We see then how far the monuments of wit and learning are more durable than the monuments of power or of the hands. For have not some books continued 2,500 years or more without the loss of a syllable or letter, during which time infinite palaces, temples, castles, and cities have been decayed and demolished?" And one could summarize all of that by that gem that we learned in school. Labor for learning before you grow old. Learning is better than silver and gold. Silver and gold will vanish away, but a good education will never decay. So the piece from Francis Bacon ahead of the playing of this recording, Labor for Learning by Desmond Decker. That's the combination this afternoon. This is Education Week. The week got underway yesterday. It's also Child Month, which started yesterday. It's also the start of the 2022 Atlantic hurricane season, starting a month earlier than scheduled, as we outlined a while ago on the program. So it's another busy month in relative terms. Let's clear some messages right now, and there's a call on our text line, which doubles as our WhatsApp number as well. But you know how much we value your input, and so let's run through the messages as quickly as we can. Jacqueline Simmons, good afternoon. Audrey Smith says, afternoon, Dervan and listeners listening from Southampton. It is a bank holiday over here. Stay safe, everyone. Take care. That's in Southampton in England. Bank holiday. Happy bank holiday, everyone. Jones Dolores, good afternoon. And we accept afternoon greetings on behalf of the company here on both sides of the story. Curleen Kinlock says, Eid Mubarak to you, Mr. Malcolm. Greetings from Trinidad and Tobago. Eid Mubarak to you too, Curleen Kinlock. Thank you very much for joining us from Trinidad and Tobago. Hubert Fowlin, good afternoon. Norman Hines in St. Thomas. Faye Weller, good afternoon, she says. I'm listening to you. Blessed new week and happy new month as well to you all. To you too, Faye Weller. Ambleton Ray is in Horton Grove in Hanover. He says, greetings, brother man Dervan. Mark me present day. I'm here for the information, education, and inspiration. Large up yourself, says Ambleton Ray. Thank you for your message, Ambleton Ray. Velta Wilson from St. Thomas is tuned in as usual. Welcome, Velta. Carol Boyeth, but she has been out of Calgary, Alberta, Canada for quite a while. And she seems to be soaking up all the fun and the sun and the excitement here in Jamaica, and perhaps looking to bottle it all up and take it back with her to Calgary, Alberta, Canada, where it's colder. So enjoy as much as the warmth as you can, Carol Boyth from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Continue to enjoy St. Anne's Bay. She's in St. Anne's Bay this afternoon, she tells us. Wonderful afternoon to you too, Carol. I have a suspicion you're not going back to Calgary, Alberta, Canada. From all I'm hearing and seeing, I don't think you're going back to Calgary, Alberta, Canada, Carol. But anyway, continue to enjoy Jamaica. Sharon Richards says, happy Monday to you, Sir Malcolm. Hoping that you had a great weekend. Thank you for all the extra lessons that you've taught us, hoping that we can repay you someday. Happy Teacher's Day when it comes. Your class is the best. Lots of blessings to you, Sir Malcolm. And you're very kind. Kindness becomes you. Sharon Richards from Savannah Lamar, Westmoreland. Thank you very much for your message, your kind messages. Leon Robinson says, to get the death certificate, find the county, then apply to the Department of Births and Deaths Department. You should know the SS number, etc. I would imagine that's information for someone who made reference to that earlier on. Ras Eyuda, good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for tuning in. Good to see you online here on both sides of the story, Power 106 FM. Let's go to this call coming through from Florida. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm.
Good
I want to ask you
afternoon.
a question, boss. Could we talk about politics on your program?
Go ahead, you're on.
Okay. I understand some people don't want to hear it. They say I will align with it. But anyhow, this morning I listened to the news where a policeman in a motor vehicle accident and they told the road and
Terrible tragedy. Condolences to the family.
yeah, and his colleague couldn't reach him because they have to pay the toll, and so that's why died. Is that true?
Well, I don't know that that is necessarily the sequence based on what I've heard so far. Again, let's remember one thing following another is not necessarily an indication that one caused the other. What is clear is that it's not the first time that we've had a situation where there's the need to take certain actions, but then one is then impelled by some kind of misinformation or miscommunication or misunderstanding of how emergency vehicles are expected to use the highway. There have also been reports and confirmed reports of people abusing people in certain positions who have the privilege of operating emergency vehicles, abusing that situation as well. It's a combination of factors, but the understanding we're getting is that from some time ago, I would imagine maybe the last time we had an incident where the subject of toll road and not having the fees operating an emergency vehicle, blah blah blah. I would imagine, from what I've read, my understanding is that this was a policy position made clear a long time ago in terms of a certain privilege to those operating emergency vehicles. Unfortunately, over time, as what has been confirmed, there's a level of abuse of the system as well. So right now, it seems to me the need is to strike the right balance so that you minimize instances of abuse and you maximize moments of distress which require a kind of turnaround that only emergency vehicles are allowed.
Yeah, but they don't have a lane for the fire truck, the ambulance, and the police, and they're the only one supposed to use that lane.
They who?
The 12 people there.
No man, all emergency. There are provisions for emergency vehicles on the toll road.
Yeah, but I'm hearing that BSI, one of the officer was on the news saying they have to pay, and then country like the United States, England, and Canada understand they have a lane for that. When they enter that lane, they have a thing in a vehicle, they make a noise, and pam, 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 and the toll thing go up and they go through.
Yeah, well, we don't have such a lane as far as I'm aware, but there's a system that has been put in place. Now, whether the communication of this information got through to everybody who is supposed to know is another matter. But this thing has happened before. And at that time, it was said that a decision would be made to ensure that it didn't happen again on the basis that emergency vehicles are allowed certain privileges. Now, yes, indeed, it has happened again. And so it is up to the policymakers and those who operationalize policy to be held accountable for the failure of the system to kick in the moment that there was an alert of the need for an emergency vehicle to do a particular maneuvering.
But one other question I want to ask you, why a person driving the government vehicle, such as the ambulance, the fire brigade, and the fire truck, want to gain access to the tool and have to pay money and not getting a picture?
I think you've missed everything. What we're saying is that
I can understand if they drive their private vehicle. But if they're going to use the government vehicle, they must be doing some government work.
Yes, the paper trail must show the purpose of their movement at that time when they're seeking to do whatever maneuverings they need to do driving an emergency vehicle. So once
you enter like an accident and you're going there, the lights start flash and the vehicle start midnight saying something important about.
There is a system. The system apparently has failed to work again for whatever reason, a combination of factors. There's the concern about the abuse of the privilege for those who have the privilege of operating the emergency vehicles. And so the onus is on those who operationalize these policies to be held accountable when the system doesn't work as it should. And those who seek to abuse the system and indeed succeed in doing so should also be penalized.
Yeah, but if say the officer go by the toll booth and inform the operator of the accident and they want to go down there, why they prevent them from going down there?
Well, we don't know. I don't know the protocol in terms of the system that is in place that is supposed to kick in at that point. If it didn't kick in, then whoever has responsibility for that system must be held accountable, because this system has been in place for some time now.
Yeah, but the system not working. System going back with your boss. as I said that before, no, and probably we're not again before.
So those who are involved need to be held accountable. One moment, please.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3:45. Save more on prescription, cosmetics, gift items, toiletries, and stationery at Biomed Pharmacy, 4 St. Hilda's Drive, Brownstown, 917-8464, and Main Street, Gale St. Mary, 975-8275. Biomed Pharmacy, for the service you expect, plus more.
Under the Law helps you to know your rights and how the laws of Jamaica can help you defend those rights. We've been doing it for 15 years. That's right. Join us on Thursdays at 6:45 and 8:55 a.m. and at 4 and at 9:55 p.m. Compliments of the Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities, educating, advocating, empowering. Under the Law, Thursdays on Power 106 FM.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Are you still there?
Yeah. One next point. For the gated community, if they see a rule apply when the police have to get a court to go in there, or him just turn on them thing and the gate fly.
The police, once they have the requisite documents and are operating within the confines of the law, are free to go wherever the intelligence, wherever the intelligence leads them.
No, what I mean is that I see sometime like man and a woman get in a fight and they call the police. Normally I get a community, I go there, put in a code before you enter, but when the police enter, him turn on a thing in car and they fly the gate, nobody, him not start to nobody, then him go through.
I think you watch too many movies, but welcome to Jamaica, where we still have to operate within the confines of the law. So we can't do what other countries do. They must know why they choose to set up a system that they have set up. Here in Jamaica, the law is very clear as to the conditions under which the police are allowed to enter public property or private property, etc.
But look on the condition in which he tried to enter and yapness illegal when I'm calling guy.
What?
Look on the condition he tried to enter and they failed to give him access. And then that's when I'm calling guy.
No, you're conflating matters now. I thought you were talking about gated communities. I thought you had changed the subject.
The same thing. If somebody
no, it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. A toll road is not a gated community. It's not the same thing.
No, what I mean, they don't give them free access. But that's what they do it here. They give them free access.
They do have access here in Jamaica. Obviously, whatever system is in place that allows for certain actions to be taken in the event of an emergency and the operator of such a vehicle needing to do certain maneuverings in pursuant of whatever the cause or the case is, they are supposed to be allowed so to do. The Minister of National Security has indicated that there is an investigation underway to find out exactly why the system didn't operate the way it should in this instance, having failed before this incident. So that's where it's at now. So we can always speculate, but we look forward to receiving that report as to why the system didn't work as it should, because there is such a system in place.
All right, in closing, Mr. Malako, I can assure you, open them up again, but in case nothing again, I'm going to call it again and you're going to tell me, say, the system fail and why it fail again.
Well, we can't go any more beyond what the facts are. The facts are the facts. What do you want us to do? Make up a story?
No, I'm saying, once it fail and them say them going to correct the problem, you know, never correct it again, them going to correct it and it never happen again.
And somebody should lose their job for that.
I wouldn't say lose their job, but you give them a stern warning, and then if they don't get their act together, then we'll leave it at a choice than to say, watch out, Wally Road.
Yeah, those who are empowered to act must act. Those who are empowered to act in the best interest of the stakeholders involved in a situation like the one we've been discussing must take responsibility. The buck must stop somewhere.
Okay, I understand about it. I get a load and clear, but hope it never happen again.
Yes, indeed. Thanks for the call. Take care. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Pora 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. Some quick updates, quick stories coming from the Gleaner. NWA working to repair malfunctioning traffic signals in St. James. The National Works Agency, NWA, is advising that 2 traffic signals in St. James are now malfunctioning. Community Relations Officer at the NWA, Janelle Ricketts, says the traffic signals at Providence Road and its intersection with the Elegant Corridor have been malfunctioning. Well, the sooner they fix them, the better. Maintenance is something we don't do very well here in Jamaica. Reverend Jacob McLean has been re-elected head of the Missionary Church Association in Jamaica. This was done during the denomination's annual general conference held last week via the online platform Zoom. Poland urges EU to slap sanctions on Russian oil and gas. 1 dead and 4 injured in Holland bamboo crash. Driver in custody. Protest by transport operators in Portland leaves dozens stranded. And annual NWC price adjustment mechanism, we're being told by the Office of Utilities Regulation, OUR, is not a rate increase. That's what the OUR is telling us. To the phone lines once again, 876-922-4112-5. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Hello, dear Sir Malcolm. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay, we get you, man. Yeah. My input today, my side of the story this afternoon, you see, is request for I call it Republic or Independence.
A Republican form of government.
Hello?
A Republican form of government. That's what you're.
We want to go to that, kind of the popular opinion and views.
Yes.
But we have to together. We have to shape up ourselves. We can the current news where a brief word is like we're not ready. Okay, it's like even with the toll road decision. I don't know how that because the management and if France or if the government probably can pay if France are strict because that the man the rule Jamaica.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, man, they rule it with the money, man. A 300,000 vaccine and give away, we can't pay for that. More also. I know something the man that give EU. EU have a program, you see, where they continually support the nation, so they give a rule.
Don't know about that. These are sovereign countries,
right,
dealing with other sovereign states.
Yeah, but condition apply because you have states are respectable,
Yeah, well, don't blame the French, don't blame the Chinese, don't blame the Dutch. Blame those who are supposed to act in the best interest of the people of Jamaica, when they fail to get an agreement or a deal or an arrangement or a situation within in the best interest of Jamaica and Jamaicans. Because people will negotiate. If people are looking to invest or to support socioeconomic development in one country or another, that is a choice that they're making. Now, the onus is on the receiving state, the receiving country, the receiving nation to ensure that whatever is being done in conjunction with a foreign state is a mutually beneficial arrangement and not a one-sided arrangement. But you can't blame investors for pursuing investments.
I not blame them. Every man has to stand up as a man. Because even like what Mr. Yeti do it here, we respect him for that because we have some vaccine on the edge. And we have to them as poor as them, they don't turn it down, them could have gravitated and take it the same way. But them say, well then now, you know, little Jamaica come and half we late vaccine and so them pride, you know. It's not like
I don't know what you mean by a little Jamaica. This is the biggest, this is the biggest little country in the world, bar none.
I said, come on, I fuck up life, you know. Yeah, son. I mean, if we debate on them, then they are saying to fuck up life, we are, you know, train up and know from a little and a grow, you know, a certain principle of life and certain pride of life and so on, you see. So what me I say now, right? Overall, when I look on the report them coming from the media and the state of affairs of the country, people need to brush up ourselves. I mean, a good time, yeah, we need to straighten up ourselves a big time, you know, if we want to rule. You understand? Because either we want to rule or we want to continue to be a subordinate of the British government. It's not too wrong with that still, because if we can properly rule ourselves, right? We don't want to make them rule because, you know, them are ruling people, them rule more than half of the world to a time. I'll create Australia. Australia or Australia big like the world. And enough part of Africa, so them is a ruling kind of people. Them go all in a Hong Kong a rule.
Who's them?
Yeah, that.
Who's them?
So not wrong of them rules still, but
who is them?
Hello?
Who is them?
The British, them not European British.
Still ruling symbolically.
When they have the queen of
still ruling symbolically, but not in reality. They're not involved in the day-to-day operations, the day-to-day running of the affairs of the country. Check it.
Hello? Symbol in the heart of the people then. Right? So symbol is great. And that we want to change currently because we don't know how it takes to them. Them now mind we like one time. Right? So but we want to shell them up completely and disassociate themselves from them.
And we'll become a first world country immediately after we do that, right?
A first world country?
I'm being sarcastic. I'm being sarcastic.
Hello? Hello?
You're not hearing me?
Yeah, that last part, I never hear the last part.
I'm saying once we become a republic
yes,
and we shed the monarchy,
yes,
we will automatically become a first world country, right?
I'm not sure because we now perform up to standard, you know, as we should.
Yeah, well, in that case, we need to temper our expectations, because this business of moving to a republic, you don't become a different nation all of a sudden. Different in the sense that you are necessarily performing at a higher level, as opposed to just the same old with a different name or a different tag on it.
What we are there now, it's like we are going a recession, we come on to governmental performance, The standard them broke down bad, you know. No service in August. Even with the road, them have rehabilitate road through Jamaica. Them not do it program right.
When has it been otherwise? One moment, please.
At Wellington Dental, they offer cleaning, filling, whitening, and other services for the entire family. The time by Wellington Dental is
4 o'clock.
Combo pack up the feeling best. Sunshine stacks up of the rest. There is no contest, it's the best mix, so we feeling best. Best value to how you're feeling. We got cheeses, rumors, caramel crunch, potato chips, well come and get it, yeah. Combo pack up, we feeling best. Sunshine stacks up of the rest. There is no contest, it's the best mix, so we feeling best. Enjoy Sunshine Snacks Combo Pack. Best mix, best value. Best mix, so we feeling best. Golden rules, you will find out what I'm saying to you. That a good education.
Que ahora es en español, son las 4:01. Quelle heure est-il en français? Les 4:01. Scienze, TDN le. Oh, Dian, cha. No. Let's do that again. 现在 TDN 了4点01分. A minute past 4 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Have you had a checkup lately? If not, now is a good time. Let's not wait till we get sick to get a checkup. How about that? Checking in with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. You are just about to wrap. Are you still there? Hello?
I'm here, man. I'm here, yeah.
Yes. Because the calls are backing up, you see. And so
yeah, me have a let you go now.
Yes.
Yeah, it used to be different with the English, and then such we have a good example where we can learn a lot how we conduct ourselves. You understand? We have them is a good coach where governance concerned. You understand? So under we have that blueprint now. We can work with the blueprint when them leave way. You understand? But we seem to like we know better than them. All right, now let's go.
All right, thanks for the call.
Yeah, man.
Take care. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Miss Olive, good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Dervan.
Hi, Miss Olive.
Just need to convey condolence to Miss Barbara Ludan and the death of her family, and I hope that she recover from her illness as soon as possible.
I'm sorry, I missed all of that. Who died?
Barbara Gludan's husband.
Oh, Ansel Gludan? Oh.
Yes.
So sorry to hear that.
I read the news yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry to hear that. Condolences.
Condolence, and she is sick as well. So she have a death plus she's sick. God, what a something. But God is evil. So just leave her in the hands of the Lord and hope and pray that He will guide her through all of this hardship. Because Barbara is such a sweet person. I'm telling you. I don't want to ever think of what she's undergoing this minute. But God is God.
Yes.
God is God. Okay? So I just thought I would drop that by you this evening. Okay?
Thanks for sharing, the circumstances notwithstanding. All the best. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How are you, Dervan?
I am giving thanks for life, and you?
Not too bad. Dervan, I am wondering with the high rising price of gas and war in Ukraine and we don't produce gas here. Why the government or the agricultural school not promoting biogas?
Oh, that's a good question. I used to.
We don't mean our people any good. The institution that should promote it and the government, they don't mean the people any good in everybody.
I glad to see biogas come naturally from waste. I was speaking to a person.
We had been, I thought you'd ask me a question. We had been, about that aspect of energy, the use of biogas through the coming out of the sugarcane industry. As far as I was aware, that was happening. I'm not sure what has happened. I thought there was some of that happening. That was my understanding and based on my exposure to the sector.
Mr. Malcolm, it is not a very complex process. I was speaking to some person who operates these gated communities. They have a sewage there. They hand over the sewage after they finish these gated scheme, to the National Water Commission, who normally do a poor job of it, and charge them for sewage fee. Whatever the water bill is the same thing they pay for the sewage. These sewage can produce biogas from the waste there and pipe by the gas to the people in this gated community, and also produce good fertilizer manure. The sewage that they are running over to Water Commission to make a mess of is a gold mine. But these people are not thinking in this aspect. I have a good friend.
Well, we would like to think that when we are embarking upon or exploring the possibility of embarking upon these projects, that we would enlist the services of qualified, certified, competent individual who can advise us accordingly. Are you suggesting that we do not have that system?
No, we are not interested because we want to support the petroleum company. We
who?
The government, the whole system, because the government collect a lot of tax from these people who import and produce these petroleum. A lot of tax. The government and his agency who agriculture and whatever do not want the people to aware of how simple they can produce gas by a biogas, a simple biodigester. They don't want the people to know it is Trinidad produce gas.
So where's the evidence? No, you can't just be running like that, like a runaway car, man.
Yes.
No, where is the? You caused me to lose my train of thought there now. Jeez. But essentially, where's the evidence that people, that those with the knowledge of biogas are hiding it from people? You can't hide anything from people anymore. And who would benefit from that?
It is not being promoted as it should. All right, Dervan, two agricultural schools usually have a biodigester. We usually produce gas from it. Agricultural school, which have the capability to lead the way where this is concerned. They close down the biogas system there and buying the digester there in those two schools and buying petroleum.
Which two schools?
The Healing, which is now called it Sidney Pagan, and the one that named Nakalva in Anova, Sidney Pagan in St. Elizabeth. They close down and they don't teach biogas.
I don't know of these schools being closed down.
No, the system, the biogas system that usually operates the school.
Oh.
And what they do, they don't teach the student they are doing agriculture about a biodigester anymore. They don't know about it. It is not on the curriculum anymore. So they do not want them to aware of how simple a biodigester is. I have a friend who set up one with just two black tanks, him turn one down into one, cut the top and just turn one down into one. And he raised some pig, and the feces from the pig, he used to feed that biogas system, and that man doesn't buy gas for more than 20 years now. What are we doing? We are way behind. When it come on to this system, we don't produce gas. A lot of households should have a simple biodigester at their house.
Yeah, well, again, it seems to me the onus is on the decision makers to ensure that they have a clear policy when it comes on to energy generation here in Jamaica. or setting up these biodigesters. I was just looking at a story from 2017. Dr. Wheatley hails SRC biodigester technology. Minister of Science, Energy and Technology, Dr. the Honorable Andrew Wheatley, says the new biogester system at the Noel Holmes Hospital in Lucy, which was built by the Scientific Research Council, SRC, proves that Jamaica can be a producer of technology rather than a mere consumer. That was 2017. I've seen one at the tax office in Constant Spring as well.
Yeah.
So they are being used, perhaps not in the volume in which we need to have that kind of operation. But
we're a joker here, Mr. Malcolm. You're such a joker.
Well,
we're not serious.
Former Prime Minister Bruce Golding once said that we're a country of samples. So we create a little sample of this and a little sample of that, and it doesn't go too far beyond that.
A biodigester is very simple. It can be set up if you Google it. Tell them to go on the phone and Google some simple one that are in Trinidad and in some also. Even Africa. Even Africa is weird. One biodigester supplying one community in Africa, in Kenya.
Yes. I'm seeing as well a JS story from last year that Caron Hall High School in St. Mary now has one of Jamaica's premier biodigesters donated by the Scientific Research Council, the SRC, in partnership with Digicel Foundation, Food for the Poor, etc. They are in Jamaica. There's no question about that.
We are joke. You might not know this, Mr. Malcolm. Did you know that? You ever hear about the Bonaparte Art Academy and Agricultural School?
Oh, I know them very well.
Do you know that they have the capacity to produce for all primary and to produce for all primary and high school in Jamaica? They have that capacity.
I wouldn't be surprised.
They have the capacity. But we're such a joker. We're not serious.
Yeah, well, please don't broad brush all of us. We still have smart Jamaicans, thoughtful Jamaicans, conscientious Jamaicans who are keeping this country afloat, keeping this country going.
Yes, I know that. There's no denying about that. Mr.
Otherwise, everything would have crashed a long time ago.
Yes. But as simple as a biodigester, the waste from the farm, the feces, the waste from the...
No, your point is well made.
Yes.
And we get it. We get it. Whether those who need to get it and hear it and plan it and execute it and implement it, well, that's another matter. Perhaps.
Are we struggling and complaining to buy petroleum and talking about the high energy cost of petroleum?
Well, thank God for talk shows where people get the opportunity to express themselves on these matters. Hopefully, those who need to hear are in fact hearing.
Yeah, who have ears to hear, let them hear.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you for the call.
Okay.
Take care. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Here's another call from Florida. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling. Just a moment. Let's adjust the volume here. One moment. Yes, good afternoon. Go ahead, please.
Yes, good afternoon, Dervan.
Good afternoon.
Could you enlighten me a little bit on the guy who called from Florida earlier, and he was talking about emergency vehicle should have easy access to pass by the toll booth. And you said to him, you watch too much TV or something like that? What do you mean?
No, that's not, no. I'm sorry. It's a classic case, as my late mother would say, deaf ears Goliath trouble. So, no, far from it. Far from it. It was, he was conflating a gated community and some access to a gated community and just conflating that, mixing that up with toll road access. Because to get into a gated community, like any community, the law is clear as to the conditions under which you can enter someone's home and what kind of documentation is necessary, and if not, what kind of action is taken, etc., etc. One moment, please.
Get high-quality blinds and beautiful windows, drapes, and wooden flooring from Sam the Blind Man, 40 Barnett Street, Montego Bay. The time by Sam the Blind Man is 4:15.
With almost 200 years of charting destinies, we are still relevant to 21st century needs. With strong leadership in teacher training, we influence careers outside the classroom. We are a Jamaican institutional treasure with an impact felt globally. We are the Jamaica University College. Call us or visit our website and discover your path to excellence. Apply today. The Jamaica University College, the classroom, and beyond.
We'll vanish away, but our good education will never be there. Little boys, little girls, oh yeah, just take my advice and go to school and learn the golden.
Que hora es en español? Son las 4:16. Quelle heure est-il en français? Les 4:16. Sietsai, TDN le, Si Dien Shi Liao Fen. 16 minutes past 4 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Have you done your homework yet? If not, now is a good time. Good afternoon to all the schoolers listening to us, all the students from the early childhood level to the secondary level. Trust you have been having, or you did in fact have a productive day of learning today. Hope you also managed to get in some physical activity, just as important as mental activity. As we always say, young people, socialization makes you educable. Education makes you trainable. Training makes you employable. And the right attitude makes you successful. Homework time, young people. And those of you preparing for CSEC and CAPE exams, you have a little more time to prepare. Remember, proper preparation prevents poor performance. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. Thanks for holding. Hello? Yes, sir.
So I am saying the first thing the government should do once the road is being built is to make sure that all emergency vehicles, police, fire, ambulance, they have special transponder. I watch Florida police passing by at a high rate of speed because it's an emergency, from state trooper to county police. And they just drive by and go about their business because the preparation is made. I don't know why we are always slow on making proper preparation. And that's what the guy was actually talking about. We need to have.
Yeah, but there's no dissonance there. We are agreed. We are agreed that that is what is supposed to happen, and that this is not the first time that an incident like this one has happened. And so we feel that those, which is why we're saying the people must be held accountable. Because if people are not being held accountable, it's going to keep happening over and over and over again.
Yeah, we hope so. We hope somebody would be responsible. But it's turning from the outset. And so, it's just a shake and fun.
Well,
what the other day with those ministers who broke the COVID law, and he just laughed about it and said they should donate to their favorite charity. While at the same time,
and they could do that because they also made an adjustment to the Disaster Risk Management Act, which essentially exempted them from the conditionalities on the basis of holding political office.
Wow. And there's one other thing I'd like to mention to you. On Friday, I spoke to you about farming in Jamaica, because one way or another, the dollar is just blown away by the wind. And if we don't strike, one of the ways to try and stop it is to farm, plant some of the stuff, the very important stuff that we need. And somebody said, was talking about predial teeth, which, yes, I agree it's a problem, but we could stop that too. We could ask the government to, whoever is going to get involved, like I said, have to be the private sector. So you get armed drone, huge drone that is armed.
Yeah, there are technologies. I don't know why we're still here, because there are technologies available that can minimize the fallout from predial larceny. The technologies are available.
Yeah, we have to do something about that. Even if we have to import 4 wild dogs from Africa to with transponder on them, so we can know where they move to and all of that. We let them out in the field in the night and collect them in the morning. But we have to stop. Look, there's nothing that man cannot do. We can do anything. And we can stop anything. We can start anything. We could almost remove the sea from where it is and put it somewhere else. So we just can't sit around and say, this cannot happen. Boys of muscle, boys of will, boys of muscle, brain, and power. This is who we are. We have to get things done, and we have to get it done.
Yep.
We just can't sit around and play our as one of the day. We're going to find that the water is right up to our nostril, and now we're going to be wondering, my God, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
We didn't do enough earlier.
True.
Okay, Dervan.
True. Thank you very much for your input. All the best. Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Good afternoon, Randy Williams. Randy Williams says, I think that the Jamaican government was so happy to get the investments, a few details were overlooked. Well, this is where the Access to Information Act comes in. We can access such a document. We can make a request under the Access to Information Act to find out whether the Act has any clause that speaks to access for emergency vehicles. And if so, why have we apparently, on the basis of a couple of incidents that have happened in recent times, not least of all the last few days, why have those not kicked in as they should? Why are we still having debates on these matters? So perhaps that is the action that needs to be taken. We need to use the Access to Information Act to gain the details as to what the act says, what the regulations, the procedures, in the establishment of these toll roads. What are the provisions for emergency vehicles? Are they built in, or we just decided to do something about that when we had the first incident some time ago of an emergency vehicle being hamstrung, in a manner of speaking, by virtue of a situation where people were unsure about what to do or what not to do. So that would help Randy Williams, the Access to Information, using the Access to Information Act to find out what the law establishing the toll road says. Ambleton Ray says, yes, Dervan, many people are degrading this lovely, powerful country too often. Well, that's one of the freedoms that we enjoy as a democracy, to criticize our own country, our own people, our own government, etc., etc. Such is the nature of the democracy. But we have to, there are those of us who still have to live here and are still prepared to put our shoulders to the wheel to make this country a better place. And our voices must be heard as well. We get your point, Ambleton Ray. Thank you very much for your message. Over on YouTube, Asha Ash says, hi, Dervan, just tuning in from London, Great Britain. Thank you very much, Asha Ash, for joining us. Natalie Winter from Washington Gardens is greeting everybody. So too, Ricardo Porteous from Glengough, St. Catherine. To the phone lines once again, 876-922-4112-5. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Dervan.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm giving thanks for life. And you?
I'm good. You know, I want to share a story I was listening to on the BBC with you and the audience. I thought it was interesting and very philosophical.
Sure, go ahead, please.
I'm a deep admirer of Khalil Gibran. I read him a lot. I like his philosophy. And I remember once I read him, and he said he learned kindness from the unkind. He learned silence from the talkative. And something else. But I say this to say this. The program was entitled Soul Music in Europe on the BBC. And the song they were discussing was that song, Lean on Me, Bill Withers.
Yes.
And it's funny how he made that song, you know. He made that song out of the opposite of how he was always treated. He was from the South, and he stuttered. So he was always, you know, the standout, the exception, the talented one.
Yes.
And he said when he left the South and went to California, he said people were so cold. If you drop there, they wouldn't notice till after 8 days.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody would give you a hand.
Yes.
And he went to a club one night, and Lou Rawls was supposed to have performed. And Lou Rawls didn't show up. And the club owner was so mad because he was saying, damn, he's giving him $2,000 a night to perform.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy didn't show up. So he said he just went out and bought himself a cheap. He said, damn, he's getting $2,000 a night and didn't show up. He went out and bought himself a cheap guitar. And he wrote the song. It was like a antithesis to what he saw. Because if you listen to the song Lean on Me, just listen to the words of the song.
Mm-hmm.
It was opposite to the treatment he experienced.
Yes.
Yes. And I was explaining to it where he said it had a political connotation to it. Because he was in part of the song. He said when he called and he said, I'm just walk the road. If there's a load, call on me.
Mm-hmm.
But there was one part they cited, and he said that's something with people that people don't do enough. He said, you can't tend to your needs that you won't let show. And sometimes, you know, pride.
Yes.
Yes. I think it was beautiful, the thought that song.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's one of my favorites.
Have a good evening.
Thank you very much for the call. I just saw the quotation. I have learned silence from the talkative, toleration from the intolerant, and kindness from the unkind. Yet strange, I am ungrateful to these teachers. Khalil Gibran. Thank you very much for your call. 876-922-4112-5. Let's clear some more of your messages. Randy Williams says, by the way, Dervan, if anyone in the New York area is trying to go to Jamaica this summer, better start looking for flights. Seats are limited and expensive, bro. Don't know what's giving away in Jamaica, but everyone seems to be heading. Better believe it. It's something we have said for years. No matter what is happening in Jamaica, good, bad, or indifferent, they never stop coming. Not just Jamaicans, but all other nationalities. There is something about this country that keeps people coming and coming back. Let's clear some of the WhatsApp messages. Starting, what time is it? All right, we're close to the break. So let's come back after the break and clear the WhatsApp messages.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:30.
Combo pack up, we feeling best. Sunshine stacks above the rest. There is no contest, it's the best mix, so we feeling best. Best value to how you're feeling. We got easy, rumors, caramel, crunch, potato chips. Well, come and get it, yeah. Combo pack up, we feeling best. Sunshine stacks above the rest. There is no contest, it's the best mix, so we feeling best.
Enjoy Sunshine Snacks Combo Pack. Best mix, best value.
Best mix, so we feeling best.
Thinking about college? Why not consider a degree at the College
Both
of
sides of the
Agriculture,
story.
Science and
Good
Education
afternoon.
case? For affordable tuition and dedicated faculty, make it a
Hello?
great place to pursue
Fine,
one of our
thanks. Can
20
you hold on,
programs.
please? We're in the
Come join
commercial
us in
break. We'll bring
picturesque
you on
Portland.
after the commercial.
Visit www.case.edu.jm or call us at 993-5377 to see how we can meet your education needs.
Both sides of the story.
We always need to hear both sides of the story. Both sides of the story.
Stories from Jamaica and across the world, keeping you informed on the issues of the day and more. It's Both Sides of the Story with Dervan Malcolm, weekdays from 2 to 5 p.m. Learn interesting facts and trivia. Participate in lively discussions on affairs locally and internationally. Hear the stories of business, philanthropy, and more from Jamaicans at home and abroad on Both Sides of the Story. Come tell your side of the story. Both Sides of the Story with Dervan Malcolm, on a mission to educate, empower, enlighten, and encourage entrepreneurship. Weekdays 2 to 5 p.m. Live on Power 106 FM and the Power 106 FM app.
¿Qué hora es en español? Son las 5 menos 28. Quelle heure est-il en français? Il est 5 heures moins 28. 现在几点了？5点cha Archer ba fen. 28 minutes to 5 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Have you done your homework yet? If not, now is a good time. Parents and guardians, do you know where your children are? Are they where they're supposed to be? Doing what they're supposed to be doing? It's a good time to check up on the children. A good time for us to continue with more here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Let's go to the listener who goes by the name Bunty. Good afternoon.
Pleasant afternoon, Mr. Dervan.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. You hearing me?
Loud and clear.
Okay. What I'm complaining about, 1 week now, I'm not hearing the station, it break down. Pure frying me getting from it. And I'm living in Sandy Bay at Maypen.
Sandy Bay.
So I can't don't call you on the phone, I don't hear you.
Which frequency are you listening on? 106.1, 106.3, 106.5, 7.
106.1. But I chip and get it, and I'm not getting anything. So I wonder if you're engineering them not working that hard.
We'll have to forward this information to them. So you said Sandy Bay?
Yeah, 1 week now. So that's why I call you at this present time. And I called you last week and I was saying to you, say, when the government said was going to put that in the opening account that we do.
Yes, that information is available either by calling the Bank of Jamaica or the Ministry of Finance and Planning. Although I'm sure I heard a bit of news suggesting that I think someone from Bank of Jamaica was being interviewed and he said more than 100,000 people are now benefiting from that link product, LYNK, where the first, what was it? The first 120,000 or so would get how much money was it? $2,500. Right. I heard an interview with a representative from the Bank of Jamaica confirming that that has in fact taken place. So I'm not sure if those who are applying now will be able to benefit from getting that account and with the 2,500, or whether there are a few spaces left. I don't know, but that is up and running.
Okay. Another thing again, you remember we talk about the symmetry them and we call it a Desmond McKellar, especially in a Spanish town, like how rainfall now. If you ever pass through Spanish town, it's like a big mess. But what those people doing about the towns?
Well, we put the question to Mayor Norman Scott, Mayor of Spanish Town, Chairman of the St. Catherine Municipal Corporation, and he directed our attention to the National Solid Waste Management Authority, NSWMA, which apparently is not for the first time having resource constraints, as we heard in an interview with Dennis Chung, who chairs that board, that they are struggling to furnish the number of trucks necessary to improve their rate of garbage collection.
Okay, but Mr. Malcolm, you should take a tour through them places, especially Maypen, Cemetery, Spanish Town. My goodness, man, it's a shame. Not because they don't know what's going on. And they have so much prisoner there not doing nothing.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure if it's only at Tamarind Farm where they do. I don't think so. I think they still have programs in the prisons. They still bake, they still sow, they still plant crops, etc. It's still happening. Maybe not as it used to, but you're thinking then we should have them working in keeping our streets clean and that kind of thing. That's what you're thinking?
Of course it is.
Oh. Yeah, well, I'm not sure why they have pulled back on that kind of. I remember seeing some of them working out by Horizon a few years ago. I don't know if they're still let out to do bushing work in that area.
In Spanish Town, it's a disgrace. Trust me on that.
Yes, and you know what they say, you can tell a lot about a country by the way they treat their women, senior citizens, children, animals, and just generally speaking, the most vulnerable in the society, including the dead, because the dead can't help themselves, and therefore we have to help to preserve the memory of our dead, or family members, colleagues, neighbors, friends, etc. And I've been to cemeteries overseas, and they always look as how cemeteries should look, places that you can go to reflect, to maybe clean up the headstone, although they have people working there to clean them up, etc. But to be able to have that experience, we don't. We have to be running scared of being anywhere too close to places like Maypen Cemetery, because anything can happen at any time. And it's just pure bush, and sometimes they find bodies in the cemetery. I mean, other than those that are buried. Yeah, it's a mess. It is a mess. And over the years, a lot of money has been spent over the years, but some might argue not enough, but a lot of money from time to time over the years. We've had bushing of the cemetery, and we're told that this is going to happen and so on. And then the bush comes up again, and everybody forgets about it.
Okay, sir. Thanks a lot for your response, and I will try the Bank of Jamaica and hear what they have to say.
Yes, you can do that, because they're up and running. The program is up and running. And we will share your concern about the frequency 106.1 from Sandy Bay, you said, right?
Yeah, in Maypen.
In Maypen. All right, we'll check on that.
All the best then.
You too. Take care. Bye-bye. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling. Hello, are you there?
Yes, Mr. Malcolm. Glad to speak with you.
Good to have you on board. Welcome.
But I'm saying that I met you at Mochi's funeral, but still unsaid.
Oh, you were that lady who I think you came across to me. It was in the church at Webster Memorial United Church.
Yes, I was I was sitting right
on the wing near the door, I think.
to the window.
To the window, right? Yes, yes.
All right, then glad to speak to you. What I wanted to speak long ago, but the time I called, I couldn't get through. I want to speak about the football thing with Mr. Whitmore.
Mm-hmm.
Theodore Tupper. And when they suck him, right?
Yes.
They put in somebody there who he was winning. This person not winning now, Mr. Hall. But here in the Sunday Gleaner, Mr. Ricky is back Hall for the top job. I think the people at the top are always the problem. I think Mr. Ricky should go and allow Tupper to get back his job because he's the person there sucking and putting in who he wants and taking out who he wants, but he doesn't want to go. He's not performing and he should go, Mr. Ricky. How you go back the man who not winning? Football is about winning and the person not winning. You're going to back him for the top job. That means if somebody better than him will go there, you're going to see that he gets the top job. What kind of man is that?
Yeah, but remember the JFF. The JFF has been through a few turmoils in their time. In fact, this is the same JFF who managed to vote out, and people thought that was impossible, to vote out Captain Horace Burrell and to put in, what was his name, Cranston Boxill as the JFF president. And I would imagine the JFF still has that power to be able to take such action.
Yeah, but this man that is here now, he's not performing.
But this is what I'm
Mr.
saying.
Mr. Hall was saying the other day, I was listening to him, that he's not about winning. He's not about winning. So what is he there for? And you're backing him for the top job. I think Mr. Ricky should step down. He has so much power.
Well, whomever has shares your concerns, if that person is or those people are a part of the Jamaica Football Federation, the JFF, then they know exactly what they need to do. They don't need any prompting.
Mr. Malcolm.
Yes.
You know what is mashing up the country?
What?
People putting up their friends who cannot perform, and then the people who can perform, they keep them down.
No, nobody can keep you down without your permission. If you hold on, if you have the capacity, if you feel in yourself that you have the capacity, the ability, the competence, you have been monitoring the situation, you have an idea of some of the things that need to be done in order to make a difference within the organization, then put yourself up for office, run for office. But if people shy away and as my late mother would say, Freddy, and not wanting to present themselves in that way, then we can't blame those who are upfront then, because the rest of us who could be upfront as well are hiding our light under a bushel.
And you go and you look in the even in education, you look and you see people who are qualified, they are suppressed by principals and so on. And
I'm saying to you, stick a pin there. There are so many jobs available for educators, well-paying jobs for teachers right across the world. The same for nurses, for truck drivers, etc., etc. If you are in an environment where you feel you are being stifled, my late mother would say, if you find your hand in a lion's mouth, take time, draw it out. So you just go on making your plans and you take time and pull your hand out of the lion's mouth and you go and pursue your future and pursue your goals and let the others who are fighting over the scrapsies go on fighting over the scrapsies.
It's unfair thing did happen to Miss Tupper. Unfair thing because
but it is pretty standard. But hold on, you have to understand the Tapper wasn't complaining, you know. Tapper knows that that is how it is in football. That is how it is. That your position is not guaranteed forever and ever. Amen. One moment, please.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:45. With almost 200 years of charting destinies, we are still relevant to 21st century needs. With strong leadership in teacher training, we influence careers outside the classroom. We are a Jamaican institutional treasure with an impact felt globally. We are the Jamaica University College. Call us or visit our website and discover your path to excellence. Apply today. The Jamaica University College, the classroom, and beyond.
Labor for learning, before you grow old. Learning is better.
Que hora es en espagnol? Son las 5:14. Quelle heure est-il en français? Les 5:14. 现在几点了？是5点14分. 14 minutes to 5 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Good afternoon to all working Jamaicans tuned in to both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. It's a good time for us to ask ourselves, how productive have we been today? How productive have we been today? Are you still on the line? So the point I'm making is with respect to the sacking of Tapper, it comes with the territory. Every coach knows that he or she has a limited shelf life, and he or she must strike the iron while it's hot, try and get the most out of the situation where possible. Because everybody knows when a team does well, invariably the players get all the glory and the honor and the cheers and all of that. When the team doesn't perform, or when the team fails to perform, the coach or the manager gets the blame. It's just a fact of life.
Mr. Malcolm.
Yes.
I'm about to go now, but I'm saying you cannot put worse when you have better. And now they're calling on Mr. Blaine to step down. Mr. Blaine is performing. How are you going to ask a man who's performing to step down? And then you put up your friend who's not doing anything. That's what I'm saying. That's what they are going.
Well, this is why those who feel like you, and especially if they are within the organization, must step up to the plate and cause their voices to be heard and their presence to be felt within the organization, instead of just lapping the tail and couldn't care less and anything, as they say on the streets in Jamaica. That can't be the approach. If it can't be, otherwise the other people will always dominate the space, because those who feel that they are competent enough and that they have what it takes are not coming forward to put up themselves for office. And that goes to the broader political scheme of things in Jamaica.
Mr. Malcolm.
Yes.
Mr. Blaine is performing. Tapper was performing. The two persons to step down now is Mr. Ricketts and Mr. Hall. Goodbye. I'll call to you another time.
All right. Thanks for the call. Take care.
They are the ones to step down. Mr. Hall, Mr. Ricketts must go.
Your position is quite clear. Thank you for the call. Thank you very much. We got you. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. Hello to Patrick Needham in New York. Yes, sorry we missed the trip this time, but don't worry about it. All things being well, life spare, God willing. There are many more to come. But thank you for the pictures. You all appear to have had a lot of fun. Well done to the organizers as well of the New York launch of Jamaica 60 celebrations. Thank you very much for sharing. Let's go to WhatsApp and clear these multiple messages now. Let's see. Let's start with this one from Clarky Bless in Hunstown, St. Mary. Good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. Happy Monday to you and your listeners. with regard to the measures put in place during COVID-19, the funeral arrangements were great and were working very well with funerals allowed only on weekdays. Weekend funerals put too much pressure on the churches. And by the way, if it was working, why change it, since no one knows what will be the next move of the COVID-19 virus? Clarky Bless in Huntstown, St. Mary. Again, Clarky Bless in Huntstown, St. Mary. There are people who are supposed to be competent in these matters, who are supposed to have the experience and expertise in these matters. And at some point, we'll have to trust their judgment. Now, in instances where that judgment becomes questionable, then we might find ourselves wavering. But for the most part, these are professionals. These are experts who advise ministers of government and prime ministers, etc. Now, whether there is no guarantee that the officials, the government officials, will follow through or will act on the advice of the advisors. There's no guarantee there, because the ultimate decision rests with the ultimate decision makers, or maker, as the case may be. Lee Robinson in London says, Brother Dervan, how are you today? Long time have not touched base. Are you coming to London for any of the Jamaica 60 celebrations? Went to the High Commission Friday, was told there's a 6-month waiting time for passports and citizenship. People are coming back home. Lee in London, England. Yeah, we've always seen that and spoken about it. Lee in London. And so it is. As we were saying earlier on, there is something about this place called Jamaica that people find irresistible. And so they keep coming. Gian in Chantilly, Portland says, good afternoon, teacher. I'd like to use your platform to reach out to the counselor of the Balcarres division, Mr. Rohan Vassal. I want to tell him about the Chantilly road that is in a deplorable condition and needs urgent attention. The taximen are planning to let us off on the main road for us to walk 1 mile up with our groceries, chicken feed, etc. Now, we hope that you're able to get the attention of your counselor. Anybody who knows Counselor Rohan Vassal of the Balcarres division, I believe that is in St. Mary. Rohan Vassal of the Balcarres division, one of your constituents is asking for your attention with respect to the Chantilly Road, which he says is in a deplorable condition and needs urgent attention. So we're calling out the counselor for the Balcarres division, Mr. Rohan Vassal, to see to the needs of his constituents. Over to you, Councillor Rohan Vassal. Calvin in North York, Ontario, Canada, sharing pictures with us as usual. This man is a genius of pianos that he repairs and tunes and does all these wonderful things with, and transforms these damaged pianos, grand and otherwise. And he has shared the pictures with us. Thank you. That's another outstanding Jamaican. He knows his work. Calvin in North York, Ontario, Canada. Andrew McPherson says, good afternoon, Sir Malcolm. Pleasant day to you and team. Peace. Peace to you too. And, oh, there was a message I read earlier on. Was I finished? What happened to that message? That was from Lee in London. Right. So, Lee, we don't know. We have to wait and see. We haven't received an official invitation yet. We'll see. H. Morgan in Birmingham says, good day, Dervan. I was reading in the Observer today where some children had to throw water, their books and pens to hide under their beds to get away from gunshots. It's a downright shame that in lovely country like Jamaica, children can't enjoy their education in peace and safety. I saw where one child was saying she attended Dunoon Technical High School. She left her house at 6 in the morning and returned at 6 to 7 in the evening. She's so afraid when going out and coming in. Another said when he is coming home and hears the shots, he ran to the nearest house. Situation gets so dangerous in Jamaica that the innocent children cannot enjoy their childhood and enjoy a good education for their future. Can you imagine how traumatized those young people will be? Some may be affected for the rest of their lives. Sad situation. What are the authorities doing to protect these children? Gunmen, thugs took over the country. These gunmen have no moral, no heart. They are a disgrace to society. Well, the police and the army are doing the best they can at this stage, and the social workers are also playing their part in terms of assisting these students. Some of them are in communities that are now regarded as zones of special operation, and there are certain actions that are to follow that kind of designation, and we look forward to seeing those manifest. Thank you, H. Morgan in Birmingham, for your message. Roy Lawrence says, good day, Mr. Malcolm. The issues about emergency vehicles using the tollway should never come up again after the Kevin Smith incident. Should have been, well, there was one before that I remember as well. Never come up again. Also, the first aid kits for the service vehicles, they don't have to give each one to everyone, but to take when going on the road. Yes, it should be quite instructive to see the outcome of an audit into the operational movements of the police. That should make for quite fascinating reading. Patrick Guthrie, otherwise known as Jamaica Love, was saying something about somebody earlier on. Not sure who that was. Ren Mendez says, good evening. Good afternoon, Ren Mendez in Canada. Sir D, it sounds like this gentleman is missing out on a great entrepreneurial opportunity. Perhaps he should do something about it himself. I hear so many people who grandstand on talk shows about what others should be doing, and at the same time, they do nothing themselves. Ren, thank you, Ren Mendez in Toronto, Canada. We have a voice note we didn't get to listen to before. Sorry about that. Natalie Winter says, enjoying your show, Dervan. What a thing happening in the British Virgin Islands. Poor man. Just can't believe this story. Poor man. All right. And I think that's where we're going to have to leave it. Can we thank you once again for the privilege of serving you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story, for today, Monday, the 2nd of May, 2022. The moving finger writes, and having writ moves on, nor all your piety nor wit shall lure it back to cancel half a line, nor all your tears wash out a word of it. All things being well, Both Sides of the Story returns tomorrow afternoon, 2 to 5. Till then, this is Dervan Malcolm reminding all of us that every day is an opportunity to do better than yesterday. Take care.
Little boys, little girls, just take my advice. Go to school and learn the golden rules.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
5 o'clock.
News, comprehensive, powerful, and credible. Power 106 FM now presents a simulcast of Radio Jamaica's News at 5.
Good afternoon, I am Dervan. Coming up in the news segment of Beyond the Headlines today, Monday, May 2, 2022. Forensic expert in the One Gun Gang trial rules out the possibility that secretly